Hello? Hello, hello. I'm back. Can you guys hear me? Do we have sound? Tell me what's good. Do we have sound, guys? Hi, everyone. I see everyone's trickling in. Yes, yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, makes me nervous when that happens. All right, do over. Let's start over. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Cherry Chat. We have the lovely Katherine McNamara on today. She stars in a very suspenseful, sexy movie called Trust that comes out next Friday in select theaters and on demand. I don't know what happened there. I think it's because I silenced a call. So I'm super excited to talk to Katherine today. For all of y'all just joining me, Katherine is in a new film called Trust. I was telling everyone it's very sexy, it's very suspenseful, and it comes out next Friday, March 12th, on demand and in select theaters. Let's see if we've got Katherine. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Kat. Are you here? Okay, I'm sending. Yeah, it's a very fun film, Trust. What's everyone else watching this weekend? Tell me all about it. I love how many of you are joining. We just need Katherine. I'm so excited to chat with her. Okay, nice glasses, Meg. Thank you, Smiley Putato. I just got them. Rewatching The Wild. Oh yeah, Vampire Diaries, fun. Grey's Anatomy, always. Shadowhunters, yes. Shadowhunters. I'm so good. Thank you, 18 Nala 18. 18 is actually my lucky number, if any of you are wondering. Oh, thank you. It's from Mango. The blazer is from Mango. Oh, Moxie. Yes. I'm so excited for Moxie. That's on Netflix. That looks amazing. Looks so good. Moxie is actually a CP choice. We have cherry picks we put out every weekend, our top films to watch every Friday. Oh, we've got Kat. Yes. Okay, let's get her. Anyways, Moxie is a CP choice.
Hello.
Hello.
I am so sorry for being late. We had another interview for our junket run behind, but here I am.
Oh my gosh, no worries. I'm just so happy you're here, and I'm so thrilled to chat with you.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, you have so many amazing, lovely fans.
They are the best.
They've just been like so sweet and supportive, commenting before you jumped on, and just always lovely to see that.
They are truly beyond my wildest dreams. Having started with Shadowhunters and then going over to Arrow, that's been the biggest gift, is getting to meet so many wonderful people and hear stories and see all of these friendships grow through the fandom. And I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Before we talk about the very so juicy Trust,
Okay.
I've been telling everyone, I'm like, it's very suspenseful and sexy. Those would be my two. Oh yeah, I watched it. It's so good.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh. So I can't wait to talk about that. But before we dive in, I would love to know some films or television shows that have shaped you both personally and professionally.
You know, it's interesting you asked that because I grew up watching a lot of old Hollywood films.
Oh yeah.
my family loves movies, and so I grew up watching things like Gilda with Rita Hayworth and Funny Face with Fred Astaire and Audrey Hepburn and the original Robin Hood with Errol Flynn, and all of these films that really shaped my idea of cinema. But also I fell in love with films like Usual Suspects, where it's in the same way with Trust, you don't have all the information and you find things out, and upon a second or third or fourth watch of the film you're still finding these little things. But aside from all of that, I'm always drawn to interesting stories and interesting performances and those things that hold a mirror up to the human experience in a way that causes you to think.
Oh, absolutely. I always say the best stories create empathy and educate. I think that's like a perfect blend of good filmmaking. And you get that a lot with the classics. And yeah, I'm the same way. I grew up on all the classics. I felt like kind of an old soul watching like these, big epic, like old school movies when I was younger. All right, let's dive into Trust. You play Amy.
Yes.
Can you just quickly, I have like so many thoughts. Can you just first off describe Amy for us?
Ooh, what to say? It's so interesting talking about this film because there are so many spoiler trip ups.
Yes.
But you have to remember what people know at this point before seeing the film. Amy is a journalism student who lives in New York. She's finishing up her degree and has a few very interesting side jobs, but falls into Owen and Brooke's life in a very specific way and causes a lot of issues. But you find out later that the situation is not as black and white as it first seems. But ultimately, Amy is a very driven, very pragmatic student of humanity. She loves exploring the different aspects. That's why she's a journalist in my mind. She's always questioning things, and she wants to be in the situation. She wants to be inside the story and inside on the ground floor of trying to figure out what aspects of life she's reporting on. And that's where a lot of this stems from for her, I believe.
Yes, and that's probably why she's so good at her side job.
Yes.
Because I think that relates to that as well. I love how the story unfolds. I think it's really clever the way it's done. How do you feel like this film is a helpful reminder and an important reminder of kind of how integral like communication is in a relationship and the importance of asking questions without jumping to conclusions?
Well, something that we have in what Trust explores is modern relationships in a lot of different aspects. And something that we have in modern relationships are many different avenues of communication. And one would think that that would lead to clarity in communication, but what we see in this film is that's often not the case.
Yes.
And a lot of inferences can be made from different influences and different perspectives that people may have about people's lives or people's relationships. And truly, no situation is entirely black and white. No person is entirely black and white. And no one's intentions are entirely good or bad. And so while people may have the best of intentions toward each other, their perception may color that and cause problems to happen. So like you said, communication is so key.
Yeah.
And
so
just being
key.
upfront and honest with people. That's the key. If these people if all of these characters were just completely upfront with each other, they could probably figure out their issues and end up with a lot different of an ending.
Yeah, that's what I love too. It's like, they're not bad people. They're just, getting caught up in all of it. And I think too, as humans, we're so reactive sometimes, especially when it has to do with love. And I think this movie it really gives you that perspective, especially if you are in a relationship, to sort of say, I need to take a step back sometimes and try not to be so reactive. And how can I not be so reactive? And, whether it's like take that breath and just ask the question or be honest in that moment instead of trying to spin the story or react with, hurt or anger, which is so hard because we're human. But, I think this film also reminds me of how women, because of the way that society has set up, the way that society has over-sexualized women, we've learned how to weaponize our sexuality. And I feel like Amy sort of, I think it's fascinating because it's like, in a way, it can be like hurtful or harmful. And
Yeah.
it's like whether we're in control of it or not in control of it. And I feel like Amy's character really plays around with this idea of weaponizing sexuality and what that means.
I would say that Amy definitely uses her sexuality as a tool from time to time.
Mm.
And it's part of what she's learned as a journalist. It's part of what she's
Yeah.
learned, investigating different situations, how to use that. But it's
Yeah.
also part of what's required in this side job she has. And it's very interesting to watch her utilize as many talents as she can, because she doesn't, what she finds with Owen is she doesn't solely use her sexuality. You actually watch her flip into her intellect, and
Yeah.
that's part of why what I loved about that relationship is, again, you go into it thinking that, oh, it's just going to be, the temptress and the unsuspecting
Exactly.
man, but really they
Mhm.
strike up this sort of chemistry, and they have a synergy in a way that Owen doesn't have with Brooke, because Owen and Amy come from the same world. They're both journalists. They both understand that mindset and that lifestyle. And there's a kinship there that extends beyond what might be on the surface, perhaps.
Exactly. Exactly. I think it's so fascinating. And um I think that a lot of times too in relationships, speaking of like this kinship, a lot of the times, and this film kind of really nails it on the head, that how important it is to sort of respect and honor your partner's passions.
Yeah.
Um, which we tend to sometimes forget, and I think that a little bit of that is happening here with Owen. Um, is that we forget that we have to kind of like we have to honor the hard work that our partners are putting into their passions, even if they don't relate to our own, and respect that hard work, which I think this film again is a great reminder. This film is just, it's such a beautiful reminder of, like I said, like it's a great handbook if you're in a relationship, of reminders of like, oh yeah, I gotta stop being so. It's not like it's because no one's doing anything intentionally
Right.
to create harm,
Right.
but that doesn't mean that harm doesn't happen. And a lot of times with love, it's accidental harm.
It's a definitely a series of unfortunate misunderstandings, I will say that. But that's just it. Is, again, it's such a look at a modern relationship where you have these two people that are both very successful and both very driven in their careers and their marriage, and that's brought them closer in their marriage. But it's
Yeah,
also put certain impediments there that they have to figure out how to overcome. And that's a lot of what this movie is the journey of, okay, how do we have that give and take of giving each other the freedom to pursue our dreams without feeling as though we're, as though they're becoming the second seat in either aspect of the relationship.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's interesting too. I think the film also plays around with this idea of, not all men, but some men getting threatened by, their partner's success,
Mm-hmm.
um, a little bit, which is interesting. And yeah, so I also thought, when one of the most powerful scenes, in my opinion, and almost hurt me more than any of the discretions in the film, was when Brooke and Amy first meet. And there's some judgment that goes on. Brooke judges Amy. And to me, it's like, why I love how that scene, it shows you just how kind of icky and unsettling judgment can come when it comes from another woman.
Yeah. And that's something that I feel as though I've been very fortunate in my friendships and my relationships, is that I love supporting the women in my life and the men in my life, and I have lovely people around me from whom I feel that support.
Yeah.
There are times, especially, being in this industry, where everyone feels judged, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what aspect of life you're in. And that's, again, this, as you said, this movie serves as an important reminder of thinking about how you speak to other people and how you treat other people. And no matter who it is in your life or what role they serve or what, how you're interacting with them or in what situation, kindness is always the way to go, at least in my book.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And again, to kind of bring it back to what I was saying in the beginning, the way that the story unfolds, I think it gives us as the audience such an important perspective that we see in that moment where we're like, Brooke, you should not be judging this woman. Like, we're already in it with them, and we're not, we're like disappointed in Brooke at that point, And it's because it's different than the movie does not pin the two women against each other.
Right.
Which is also so important.
Yeah, and that was another aspect when I first read the script that I loved, is that the women are never pitted against each other. The men are never pitted against each other. There's not a situation in which the opposition is that shallow, in any sense. It really is a very intricate, in-depth conflict that no one is fully at fault, but everyone's culpable in a certain way.
Yes, yeah. And I think it boils down to, again, like the friggin' title of the movie, it's trust. It's that anyone can fall victim of trust when, you're not honest. Yeah. I mean, obviously, right? And it just shows, but it's like the oldest lesson in the book, yet we're still repeating it over and over again, especially in relationships and in friendships. We know that leading with honesty is always the way to go, yet it's so hard to do that.
I don't know, I'm an honest to a fault. And so I find that I look at these situations and I can relate to them in the sense that all relationships are complicated and all of that, but
yeah,
it always makes me think, just say it, just be upfront, just be honest. Yeah. And I think that's what, as an audience member, that's our goal, is to have everybody screaming at the screen going, no,
oh my gosh,
just tell her, just tell him, just be honest, it'll all be okay. Because that's what's happening in life. Isn't that always the case? If you're just honest.
It's so true.
It's so much
true. Because it's just going to eat you up inside. It's going to come out. It's going to rear its ugly head no matter what you do. And it's going to fester. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The truth will set you free.
Yeah.
What's the biggest takeaway you want folks to kind of learn after watching Trust?
I feel as though I say this time and time again with this film, but no situation is black and white.
Yeah.
In life, in this film, in relationships. And there's no right or wrong answer, especially when it comes to love and trust and relationships. There's an infinite number of ways that things can play out, and trying to play them out in your head before they happen, or trying to guess what someone's reaction is going to be, or what the ending is going to be, or what someone else is thinking or doing.
Yeah.
Just talk to people, just connect with people, and trust the people that you love and the people that love you.
That's beautiful. And I think also it's like everyone's story is different too. Everyone's relationship. We're so quick to judge other people's relationships. And I think that everyone's story is different. Before I let you go, this has been lovely, by the way. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Always we're all about supporting each other as women on Cherry Picks and lifting each other up. So I'd love to give you the opportunity to give a shout out to either a woman or women in the industry or outside of the industry that you just want all your fans to have on their radar. Just give a little love.
Goodness, there's a list a mile long.
I know.
Truly.
Or maybe someone that's really inspiring you right now, or this last month.
Well, I would say that, a group of women that have inspired me and continue to inspire me are the women in my family. And I say this because they've been with me my whole life, but I see so many women, no matter the industry, struggle with this choice of family versus career.
Yeah.
And the women in my family always did both. You know, they're my family's all in science and medicine, and they all are scientists and doctors and nurses and teachers and professionals and all of this, but also the best mothers and grandmothers and sisters and cousins. And for me, I never had the question of or. It was always and. If you work hard enough and you have passion for family and for career, you can do both. And so I wish that was more of a prevalent thought for women everywhere.
Oh, I love that. That's a wonderful quote, that it was never a question of or, but and. I'm just gonna leave it at that, because that was brilliantly said, and I hope that everyone watching that really soaks in, because it's very true. With women, we shouldn't have to choose, and that was that inspired the hell out of me, and I hope it inspired everyone. But thank you so much, Kat. And
thank you, my dear.
Trust comes out next Friday in a week. Select theaters, on demand, all the good stuff. It's so juicy, it's sexy, but also you're gonna walk away learning so much. Hopefully take it a step back, look inside your relationship, and it's a fun one. So thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Chat soon. Bye.
Bye.